Oh, hey, hey, hey. 169. Let's do it. What's up? Come on in. Getting things set. Party on. Oh, no. There we go. Pardon the tech issues. What's up, everybody? Come on in. I am multitasking right now. We have a great show. Wow. Okay. We have a bunch of people in here already. Thank you for showing up. I got family in the house. We got Goblinko and a whole bunch of other people. Jason, Paul. Nobody fresh. Do I know you? Oh, we got Charlemagne in the house, Kook Saint, Jason, Michael Pike. Who else is in here? All right, come on in. We have a good one. Today was almost a wild card. And you hear an echo in the background? Is that real? Hold on. We have to fix that. See, these are things I don't know. There might be a microphone that's on that shouldn't be. Huh. Interesting. All right, so if one person has it. Hey, what's up? What's it say? I can't read. Caustic Saint? Caustic Saint, welcome. Gangster Jim in the house. I saw that you're in there. What's up, brother? Listen, I got a good one. We got lots to talk about. Fun stuff, crazy stuff, all stuff. I'm Cardone. If you're new, hit the like, hit the subscribe. If you're not new, you know what to do. Read the, what do you call it? The description underneath. It tells you about the point system. If you're wondering what the chatting is and the points. Introduce yourself. Speak in the chat. Yes, by golly, I take donations. It helps the cause, seeing that I do this performing crap full time. But if you do not donate, that is fine. Just spread the word. What else before I get into the jams? I am drinking tonight, no alcohol Guinness. And I poured it, normally I pour it in my other cup. Tonight I poured it in an ice mug. I put the mug in the ice. It is damn good. I haven't had booze for 30 years, but I do like fake beer and fake alcohol. All the fake options. And I rolled a beat on the bat baseball bat. A big boy. 3.2 grams of greenery. And only greenery. Tobacco is foul. The only time I like tobacco is in cigar format or pipe tobacco format. Unfortunately, I don't do those anymore. I have this really crazy pipe collection. And I mean crazy. Because I made friends with the guys that work in the pipe shops. So, one day I'll do a show on pipes. I'm kind of a pipe expert. I have here a meerschaum pipe. I've had this meerschaum pipe since high school. It used to be a very crispy white, and now it is a brown. I now use it for not tobacco, Meerschaum is fossilized seashells. It is porous, it breathes, it smokes cool. So for those of you that like tobacco or the greenery, Meerschaum, but make sure it's a real one. They make fake Meerschaum. There you go. Turkey, I believe it comes from. Oh, you're stashed up too. Ah, I love it. Ryan says, I get drunk for my birthday and Halloween only. Ah, Fallon! Which Craft District? Glad to have gotten to party with you this weekend. We had a fallen friend, and we attended an amazing party for that friend. Charlemagne, what did you say? What did you say? Were you allowed to smoke in high school? Yes, we all smoked cigarettes, and I mean, we weren't allowed to, but by God, we smoked. We were allowed to smoke in the parking lot. My sister, who was watching, I don't know if you had a smoking room in the late 70s, early 80s in high school. Then they let kids smoke on the patio. Then I heard that they banned the patio because kids threw snowballs at a funeral, and they banned it. So when I was in high school, you could only smoke in the parking lot. Yes, this is cool. I've had this now for over 30 years. I have had a weird day. I feel like I have brain fog today. Kind of like the COVID brain fog. I feel thick. I feel foggy. I don't feel sick, but I am a little out of it. So on that note, Goblinko's in the house. How's your campaign going? You're done with your very successful Kickstarter. I can't wait to see the games. Somebody was asking, when is my next Dungeon Degenerates? I would hope to do one sooner than later, but unfortunately, I am a little busy. I've had a very busy summer. I've had a very busy fall. I have nine private bookings booked for October. I probably will get another 8, 9, 10. I get last minute stuff. So it is busy. Oh yes, this will help. Oh, Ruth! Ruth! Nice to see you this weekend, Ruth. Party on, safe trips, and Ruth is on a plane. I love it. Wow. I love the diversity in my chat of the different types of people and the different walks of life and the different regions they're from and all the things they do for fun and for a living. I have the greatest group of friends, colleagues, and supporters, people that support my stuff. Really, I have the greatest group. And I have a group of people that come from the left, the right, the up, and the down. In this room right now, I am a proud person that brings together a group of people that on paper might not be able to come together. But I pride myself in being able to speak above and below that. Really, I do. I love it. A certain blonde beside you. Here. What a great weekend. Nice to hang. I hadn't seen, I don't know if we use, we're open here. Blanche. Glad. It was such a great weekend. I got to spend time with lots of great people. We had a fallen friend, and we gave that person the biggest salute. Magister Neil Smith. He deserved it all. Oh, this is so good. So, gaming-wise, life-wise, I'm a little busy, which is a good sign. The bad sign is this. I'm a good predictor. I'll take that back. I'm an excellent predictor. The economy's not very good right now. They're telling us it's good. It's not good. Waving hello. Safe travels. Yeah. I know it's not good. I can tell, and I know this by demographics of how beach versus concessions work. If we have busy beaches and the concessions are a little low, means something's weird. It means something's not right. It means people don't have any money. And so, yeah. Honestly, I make a living off of very wealthy people and corporations hiring me to do magic shows. Not all wealthy people, but people that are upper middle class and beyond. I can't even afford to hire myself, okay? Most of my friends can't afford to hire me unless I give them the Cardone price. But you see what I'm saying? So my business has been okay. I usually feel the pain of a bad economy later because I'm dealing with people that have cash. If you're dealing with the middle class and below, you feel it first. Okay? So, but I'm busy, thankfully. Last year, I had my slowest December I've had in years. Years. The one before it, the year before, was one of the busiest I've had in years. That's a weird swing. And my stuff's kind of, what's this say? I love it. Oh, it's crummy reception? See, I would think it's good. Because you're closer to outer space. So anywho, economy's a little weird. There's a swing. It doesn't know what it's going to do, so it's like, right? But I'm booked. I've got work. I've got December work. I even have work booked for next spring and next summer. So that's a good sign. But on the regular day-to-day stuff, the groceries are expensive and, it's not normal. My grocery bill's doubled. I don't think I told this story. My mom's in here. She'll verify. It doesn't get any more straight up than this. I shop with my mama once a week. It is so fun. We have a blast. We were leaving the grocery store not that long ago, maybe, 4 or 5 months ago. And as we were leaving, we were looking at our grocery bills, like in hers was double and so is mine. We get the same things a lot, so we really see when things go up or down. And as we were leaving, the news is like, hi, is your grocery bill higher than normal? Like, really, they were... So we were in the news. So, what's it say? Oh, I keep freezing. Well, that's not... No, I'm kidding. That was me freezing on purpose. Yeah. So anyway. So gaming-wise, I've been a little slow. Movie-wise, I've been slow. I haven't seen a lot of movies. I haven't even turned my TV on. I think it's been a full month. It hasn't even been on, maybe. Something like that. And that's nothing. There's no movies, nothing. I am looking forward to one movie, and that is Terrifier 3. That's about the only one I'm looking forward to. And my daughter is off to college, and I feel old. And I'll be honest, cheers to my daughter going to school. I took her to her dorm room, and I came home, and I went up to my beach, and I cried for an hour. I had that. I've heard that happens. I had it happen. I didn't expect it. I lost it. I was like, wow, my kids are both grown up now, and they've made ways for themselves. It's pretty powerful. So, what do they call that? Empty nest. And before we get into any subject, Ramones. Below, you'll see a petition in the description. This Saturday, my band has a float in the Rockaway Beach Parade. We're gonna do a Ramones float to promote our shows and the. She is majoring in baking. She's going to Culinary Institute for baking. How cool is that? So she's going to be a professional chef. We are playing a show on the 27th at the Surf Club to raise awareness for our Ramones naming of the amphitheater. We've had a little hiccup. Somebody is in the way. Everybody else is for it. So we'll get over it. I think it's still going to happen. So we're going to be in the parade this weekend. Yes, I am looking for Nosferatu. All right, so how was that Crow? It looked terrible, and so did Beetlejuice. I never liked the original. I'll be quite honest. I don't know why. You'd think that would be something up my alley. It never was. Yeah. I mean, I am proud. Yes, Ryan. Yeah. It's shocking, but yeah. Oh, cheers, James Earl Jones. You did it, bro. You were a Renaissance man, actor, a gentleman, a voiceover, film, television, radio, theater, a real actor. But I got to give it to you. Thulsa Doom, one of the greatest bad guys ever on film. I'll put it above Darth Vader. I really will. Yeah, Ooh, what's this new movie? Jimmy and Stiggs. Ah. I mean, there's a lot of new stuff coming out. It's too much. I can't keep up. We'll talk about that later. That's part of the subject. But as for games go, I haven't played in a while, and I'm a little nutty. I'm not going to be able to do it tonight. I'm set up to play Dungeon Degenerates whenever. It's kind of always set up. But, yeah, Darth Vader, believe it or not, I'm not a Star Wars guy. I don't hate it, but it never spoke to me. I mean, I like the movies. When I was little, I loved them. But it didn't get into me. It didn't really dig its claws into me like some of the other genres. Hold on, I have a headache. So at any rate, that's my daily life. Who cares? I have some subjects today I want to talk about. One of them is a Nietzsche quote I found that I want to read, which I like. Nobody is more inferior than those who insist on being equal. Great quote. Sums up lots of his philosophy. But I Googled it. Which book is it from? I'm one of those guys, if I read a quote from somebody famous, I want to know where it's from. And then I go look up its source, and I read what comes before and what comes after. Like, for instance, there's a quote in the Quran that's like, to kill one person is to kill the whole world. And they use that to justify how peaceful Islam is. But if you read the next part to that, right after, it says, but you should be sure to like cut off heads and hands of the infidel, blah, blah, blah. Then it gets violent. But they never quote that part. They just quote the top part. So me, I look up the Nietzsche quote, and I don't think it's Nietzsche. But the problem is, I found lots of sources saying that it was a real quote. Why is that? It's because the robots are commenting on robots, and the news is commenting on what that guy commented on, what that guy commented on. It's the whole story of having one news source and then every single news agency using that specific one verbatim as fact, when that might not have been fact. And now that these all up here branched out and are using it, people are using them now as the holder of the truth, not the original source. But if they would dig deeper and find the original source, they'd see that it's a fact, but it's not true. And so this started a whole of me digging deep, right? And I started thinking, like, you know, what's the episode going to be tonight? And I didn't know what to do. And I entitled tonight something very simple. Well, I don't know if it's simple. UFOs, bread, Circus, and the calm before the storm. The reason why I brought up UFOs in the subject, and I see a lot of people are interested, it's something I think about a lot. As a kid, I always liked UFOs. But recently, and if you watch some of my newer, in the last year episodes, I've come to the conclusion that all the UFO phenomena we've seen on the news, on TV, the New York Times, the video, the government admitting it, the whistleblowers, all psyops. All of it. Now, I'm not saying there's no life on other planets. I'm not saying aliens aren't here. I mean, they could be. Some of the sightings might be extraterrestrial. But if I lay out on two pieces of paper, one piece, let's put all the facts of why it seems the statistics of us being alone is one thing, but the statistics of other things being evolved enough to come find us in the flesh or with a craft, it starts to get pretty far-fetched. Again, not to say it can't happen. I'm not denying any of that. And then on the other piece, we write down all known admissions, sightings, the government finally saying it's real, all that stuff. And I see problems. And my question is, right now, where's the UFO stories? We haven't heard many. It's been kind of quiet. There was the New York Times did an article in, I think, 2016, and that was the first big splash right there. There's the proof. The New York Times is admitting it. Yeah, the galaxy's massive, but we might be in the darkest, deepest hole you could ever imagine. You see, this is the thing, like, our alone might be really alone. And so, back to the idea of the New York Times starting the fall. So the New York Times did an article, and then everybody started doing articles, and then we have this Lou Alessandro guy who is from ATIP, or it's either called ATIP, or there's two ways to say it. They're the same agency, yet they're not the same agency. It is a mess. Okay. So anyway, wait, what's this? Immigrants eating dogs clogs the news. Well, how do you know it's not a psyop? That's my question. Like, they don't have to focus on that. See what I'm saying? See, that could be. I could swing that one reverse. I could flip that one. They doesn't. The psyop game goes many directions, and I think it's funny that people don't realize that the government here, the internal government, does it to its civilians constantly. Now, the thing about, oh yeah, here. Okay. Yes. Okay. Yes. Ancient astronaut, blah, blah, blah. I mean, sure, no. I don't buy. Hey, Lilith Malone. Good evening. Yeah, I don't buy, so the ancient again, it's all plausible and possible. Where's the evidence? I could argue that the ancient astronauts are the same projections that we project on other forms of Bigfoot. They're external projections of our internal subconscious too. You could swing it that way. I mean, I've seen every hey, Carly, party on Wayne. Ooh, gosh, stop theory makes. Oh wow, this is, you guys gotta. Oh, psyop theory. Well, okay, but all right, here's the thing. People believe in angels, people believe in demons, people believe in UFOs. UFOs are the one thing that has some sort of thing to it. It's a thing. People see it, they take pictures, right? Angels, maybe in the old days they did. I love that we have people in planes and automobiles all communicating here. But at any rate, we have test aircraft. We also have test technology. We have technology that we can't believe. I mean, like I did an episode last week, I mentioned they have cameras that work without lenses. It uses all known data to come up with a photographic image of what's around. That means remote viewing is real. That means you can be spied on in your apartment without any cameras. They can see you. So you're telling me that they can't work on anti-gravity stuff or different versions of propulsion? They definitely have. There's been many scientists that have something to do with that, and if you go look them up, there's some weird stuff. So, at any rate, if they have technology and it leaks and people see it and it looks like magic, or UFOs or angels or demons or unicorns, whatever, how do you react if it's you doing it? Okay? How do you react? Well, you first deny it. Like, I don't know. What are you doing? But then eventually you realize it's in your benefit to add to the mystery. Why would you not? If they had secret technology. Oh, here's the other thing. Every single video I have seen, it's not that special. I have heard from witnesses that they move in really creepy, irregular fashions, and they do this and they do that, and that. But none of these videos do that. It's just something moving fast, and you hear somebody reacting to it. I've seen people debunk them. Like, really go into the detail, the land speed, and this and that, and how it could be a million things. The last thing being an alien from outer space. And the only thing they'll say is these craft move in manners that we can't move. Yeah, known ways we can't move, not unknown. So I think it's a psyop. But my question is, why haven't they brought it out in a while? Did people get bored? Did they notice it was losing its power? Did they realize that people realized that the whistleblowers were approved? Did they realize that said, "What's up, Lord Lorcan?" Did they realize that right behind the FBI whistleblower are two filmmaker con artists? Well, I won't call them con artists. I'll call them sideshow showman is the correct term. Okay? They're showmen. One's a weatherman who's been doing UFO stories, and the other guy's a filmmaker. They make movies, documentary movies. Okay? They're the people sitting behind the FBI approved guy with their statements. In my world, if you are a real whistleblower, you have to leave the country. You see what they do to the real whistleblowers? I mean, look at the Julian Assange stuff in detail. Don't passively look it up. Go look up the details. It's insane. So, and then look up the Chelsea Manning stuff. Look it all up. Look at the thing. You'll see the real whistleblowers get hammered hard or killed. So, when they're approved, you know that it's what they want. The government doesn't do anything they don't want. They do everything they want to do. Why? Because they can. They have no oversight. Most likely it's drones. Obviously, clearly, they have drones that we can't even imagine. And it's the one branch of the military seeing another branch do its thing. And that other branch is like, oh my God, we're fooling the army. You know, like they're blowing their minds with the technology. So, again, I'm not denying there's no aliens and then if they're not watching. I'm just saying everything that they're giving us on a dish is definitely a psyop. Really. If you study the chain of action, now it's hard to find it. Why? Well, because nobody wants it debunked. Who wants it debunked? I don't. You see? Our brain does not want that stuff debunked. It doesn't. Only certain types of people like to debunk things. Most don't. So, it's in their favor to lean into it. You think that the top dogs don't hire wizards to come up with this stuff? Of course they do. They're not stupid. So, if I'm coming up with it, if I can think of it, somebody else is on the same page. Clearly. It's like, just lean into it. Let it roll. Let it do its course. Is it hurting anyone? Not really. It's actually making, it's creating an ecosystem to make money. UFO people. I remember when I heard that it was like a Star Trek convention, the FBI guy met the filmmaker people. I mean, it just, if you look at the details, and they got $22 million. The government gave $22 million. Harry Reid gave his buddy $22 million to do research on monster werewolf beavers, ghosts, ESP, and some UFO stuff. And when they did the news article, they left out everything except for the UFO part because they didn't want to, it sounded stupid. They actually, the lady that wrote the article said it with her own mouth. I didn't want to discredit the movement. That's front page New York Times. Front page. So you can prove in 1 second that on the front page of the New York Times, there's immediately non-journalism. Oh, what do we got here? So to me, why? Why would they do it? It's called bread and circus. It's called distraction. It's called, we are going to start a new campaign to destabilize this region of the earth to get these minerals, this thing, that thing. So we need people on the same page. So we're going to do this, this, this. Meanwhile, we'll legalize weed and bring out the UFO story from the dirt. It's called bread and circus. It's another trick. It's been there forever. It works. It works well. That's why they do it. So, my question is, why not now? We are in some sort of, the country's in a political turmoil. People are not agreeing. The economy's all over the place and weird. The world is very destabilized. You know, the things that happened as a result of the Iraq war are starting to come to terms now. The destabilization of the Middle East and all that kind of stuff. We're seeing the after effects of 25, 30 years later. That's what you get, right? That's what it looks like. And then you look at Ukraine and Russia and the UN, and these are World War II things that aren't resolved. These are, to me, that's what it looks like. This is what it looks like. This is just me. I'm a regular guy. I try to pull the camera back. I try to not have any favorites. I try to think everybody has a will to power. Everybody. Every single creature, person, place, and thing wants to expand whatever they think is good. And if they don't expand what they think is good, somebody will expand upon them. So what do? And that's what we're just watching unfold. The U.S. meddles in many things. You know, look at the meddling we did in Ukraine up until the boom boom stuff happened. Lots of meddling. So this is, this is what happens. You meddle and things happen, and this happens and that happens. To me, it's neither good nor bad. It is what it is. It's the ebb and flow of our earth. It's our reaction to being pulled from the jungle and plopped on the pavement. And on top of that pavement, we now have pocket computers. Kubrick moon. Yeah, I don't know about the moon landing. I've looked into the moon landing. I think they did it. I do. I'm pretty good at smelling BS. And I did some deep dives. And yeah, they used like some baloney photos and videos for some promo. But yeah, I don't know. It just seems like if the reasoning is we wanted to outdo the world, if we got caught, see, you have to understand something. When you're a magician, a good magician, most magicians don't think like this. And when I say magician, I'm saying stage magician. I have to outweigh what happens if something doesn't work. Okay? Why? Because it's Murphy's Law. And it's a smart wizard. And it's the reason... Okay. All right. Lord Lorcan's asking a good question. Hold on. I'll get back to that. I've already forgot what I was going to say. Hold on. This is a good question. Excellent. When I'm doing so this is the reason why I don't do magic tricks where things levitate. Not to say floating things in a magic show look cool. It's one of the most powerful things you could ever do. Point at an object and it floats. It doesn't mean that I haven't messed around with floating things. I have a video where I make a match float and some other stuff. There's only a few ways to make something levitate with a magic trick. Mostly I don't want to spoil it for anybody. And I don't mind saying this because I don't use it. My versions are very different. But usually it's a thread. That's it. So thin you'd be shocked. If I do a really amazing sleight of hand magic, okay? Something that they know I'm using the psychology of my thinking, my skill of reading a situation, and an ability that is, they know my hands can do some crazy stuff because of the years of work. And then I do a magic trick where they can clearly see the piece of thread that I can't tell that they can see because of the lighting. I might not see the thread, but the guy sitting over there might be able to see it because of the lighting. In my opinion, all my work is gone. All the hard work I put into creating this amazing moment is gone. I'm a boob with a string. Okay? So I am thinking that what pocket computers. You guys got to read the chat. We have a great chat here. So if you're gonna BS, then I mean, if you get caught and it's like that, God, you're beyond a loser. And so that's why it doesn't seem that crazy that they could go to the moon. I don't know. It seems crazy that it happened in the 60s, but I mean, they were able to do some crazy stuff then, you know? And again, we don't know what else they had on their side that we don't know. Maybe they didn't tell us everything. But to me, that one's not. As for the Israeli guy that's like, there's a galactic federation of aliens and blah, blah. Again, I haven't seen any evidence. I've seen no video. I've heard lots of testimony. If these things happen, there should be physical evidence. There's no photo. I've yet to see a photo that makes my jaw hit the floor. Okay? Well, yes. Yes, Dark Alchemy makes a good point. Yeah. Well, you're smart and know that there's work involved. But the general guy doesn't think that. Okay, I'm going to give you an example of something that I encounter in magic. Okay? This is where you're not going to hear this from any other show or a magician. This is a very subtle thing that I notice when I'm doing magic. If you're a magician watching this, you will definitely be able, you'll know what I'm talking about. You might not have noticed this. It's almost like an intelligence measurer. So I do a magic trick. Almost every magician on earth that's a sleight of hand magician knows how to do it if they're decent. If you're a good magician, you know this trick and you have your own version and you probably do it a lot. Why? Because it's simple, direct, and you can do it in a loud nightclub, you can do it on the street, in a movie, anywhere. Someone writes their name on a card and it keeps jumping to the top of the deck over and over again. And there's a million methods, a million versions. There are books on just this trick. Okay, that radiation belt I've seen debunked by real scientists. There's a way they can do it. If you look up, I've seen it debunked. Doesn't mean it's wrong, but I've seen people go on it. Yeah, well, the Jesus early magician thing, I personally, I don't think Jesus was real. I've done many subjects on this. I've done a whole show on it. But the tricks that he does in the Bible were common. They weren't always, if you're a historian in magic, you know that those tricks weren't attributed to one person. All the wizards did those tricks. That's a red flag. That's not good. Um, so here's the trick. The card keeps popping to the top. The first time it happens, they're like, oh, wow. The second time, they're like, oh, my God. The third time, usually it's done like over and over with more impossible conditions. So that's why you have to use different methods. That's why it's a cool trick. Usually people that are really good at it are good at sleight of hand. And I mean really good. So every now and then I'll encounter somebody that on the second or third one, I put the card on the bottom of the deck and I put it on the table and I go, where was the card? Now 9 out of 10 people go, what was on the bottom? And I go, notice I said was. Without me touching, turn that top. So then they turn it over. Oh my God. And I'm like, look, I'm not even doing it now. You're doing it. You see, it's impossible. So here's the problem. Every now and then I encounter somebody that the way their mind works, the impossibility of the card coming to the top of the deck isn't as impressive as them guessing that it's on the top. So this is what it sounds like. I put the card on the bottom, I put the deck on top, and I go, all right, so where was the card? And they go, it's on the top. As if they're playing a game and they've won. And I'm like, yeah, it's on the top. See, I told you it's on the top. And they get, and I have it happen kind of a lot. Like, it happens. And you're like, oh yeah. And they're like, oh, yeah, I got it. Like, they're like impressed that they guessed that it was going to the top, even though that's the trick. It keeps going. I'm not kidding. I'm not exaggerating. I see it all the time. It's like, oh my God. And it means that I can't keep doing the trick because the build of the kind of plot that I'm establishing, I can't even do it now. Because their whole trip is that they're just guessing what I'm going to do next. What is that? It's called low IQ. It's a weird version of like they're more satisfied. It's like a little kid guessing where the thing is, you know? It's really disturbing when I see it. It's very common. Enlightenment, the Gnostic Bible. Oh my, I mean, dude, I should do another show on this. It's one of my hobbies. I'm definitely a Jesus mythicist. I think he was a myth that got written in historical context. There were many other soothsayers of his generation, and there's way more evidence on them. Oh, these chats are so good. I love it. Yeah, a lot of the magic of the Old Testament is they're tricks that you can find other sources for. Other people doing them, other cultures doing them. It's a little peculiar, is it not? It doesn't help the wizard. And so, okay. There's a lot there. So, I don't know. Back to bread and circus and UFOs and psyops and the government giving geniuses lots of drugs, Ted Kaczynski. The government bailing out of jail psychopaths for strange reasons, Charlie Manson. They've been doing psyops and weird experiments for years, and 20, 30, 40, 50 years later, we see the side effects of them all. And they do too, and then they do new ones, and it's just the way it is. It's been that way. Another version of this, instead of it being UFOs, is Christianity and the world religions. It's the same thing. People make claims and then they organize it and they clarify it and then they agree with it. Constantine finally admitted, oh, Christianity's great. They were persecuting the Christians because they were a weird cult. And then out of nowhere, they decided that was the philosophy they were going to use to conquer. If it was real, Constantine would have said, under this symbol, I will save the world. Or he would have said, under this symbol, I will bring peace to the world. That's not what he said. I believe he used the word conquer. So it's the same. There's no difference. There's one difference though, and that is quantum computing, surveillance. Now they have cameras without lenses. Where do I need to go? The computer is going to have the mind of a god. It will be able to fabricate the fact, the truth, and the source, and you won't be able to do anything about it. If it wants to make a fact real, it can just make it and build its history. You see what I'm saying? Quantum computing is going to get wild. Computers will be able to look at you and know what you had for breakfast and what you're going to eat for dinner. It'll be able to predict it with uncanny accuracy. And then it'll make sure that the only food items you see are the ones that paid the sponsors on time. It'll decide what the morals are that run the system, and it will control it. The talking burning bush. Oh, speaking of that. Yeah, I know. I mean, the Bible stories are pretty wild, and as a child, my hobby has been studying them and figuring out where the truth may lie. And it's been a life journey, and it's fun. I love it. I do the same to all world religions. I am unbiased to the spiritual game of studying and debating, debunking, and whatnot. So, on the note of AI, how many of you have noticed, and this is what I really wanted to talk about tonight, people have been listening to fake music. And when I say fake, I mean the instruments are computer renditions of a real instrument. Like when you hear a keyboard, you're like, well, that's a keyboard. But when you hear drums, you don't think it's a keyboard. You say it's the drums. But it's actually a keyboard. It's not real. So, how many of you have noticed on YouTube how many of the videos that you click on, there's a weird accent? Words are pronounced wrong. I notice it all the time. Well, they're not real people. They're AI. And not only that, the video looks like AI made it. Like, I've seen videos that have nothing to do with me, and I'm in them. Why? Because they did a Google search and they're using my image. So, and no one approved it. No one watched it. It didn't get edited. The editor was the AI itself. So, I'm noticing it everywhere. I'm being asked everywhere I go if I want AI's help. Everywhere I go, I'm being asked to log into my Google. I recommend don't log into Google. Watch, I'll probably lose my account over this one. Yeah, watch what happens if you don't log into Google, how much Google bugs you to log in. AI is asking me every second, do you want this, do you want that? It wants to be used. Why? Because it's teaching it. So, I've heard from people, everybody's using it to write copy for work. If you have to write a paragraph or something for work, people are using it now because it's fast and easy, and it's okay. But folks, I don't think we see what we're in the boiling frog right now. I mean, it looks like at any second we're gonna really feel. Like, I've been saying it's slowly getting more censored online, right? Well, it is, and it's real, especially here on YouTube. It really is. It's getting dangerous. You can't say certain words. You can't. I mean, the list of words that I use the word nerf. Shrink, nerf your YouTube shows and channels. The word list is crazy. And the things that'll get you strikes, very easy. The proof that it's crooked is the fact they don't usually tell you what you did wrong. They want you to admit it. Now, Why is that proof? Well, that's how you anti-parent. It's the wrong way to parent. How do you fix what you did wrong if you didn't figure it out? You can't fix it. So, like communist countries that don't spell out anything on a constitution, people that make it up as they go along, that's what they're doing. And I say it all the time on this show. Now we have AI involved. So it's not just corporate overlords. Well, there's a robot involved too. And the robot has an opinion, and it's a little different than a human. It's a little different. You could say it's unbiased. So there's the good part. You can make it unbiased. But that would prove that the law of the jungle ain't pretty. Right away it would do that. But they don't like that. So it is biased. Why? Because we're putting our hands on it. And humans are biased. There's no way around it. Do you know why I pulled you over? Oh, of course. So cops have a very, cops, FBI agents, CIA, they have a very specific way of talking that it's very similar to like psychics and magicians. It puts it on you. It gives you it makes it so that you don't have to do the work. They're going to do it for you. And it sets it up for it. So, yeah, that's exactly what that is. They're getting you to admit the crime. Or they might not have a crime. I mean, look what the Scientologists do. They do a thing where they go, what are your crimes? And you're like, huh? What are your crimes? I mean, I got caught stealing when I was 5. No. What are your real crimes? And eventually people start making up things because they feel guilty. I did an episode where I mentioned as a kid, I was forced to go to confession and I didn't have anything to confess. So I made up some stuff to confess. That's brainwashing 101 right there. There it is. That's bad. What is that? That's not good. That's a weird condition in the human behavior that's easily exploitable. Wait, what's this? Who remembers the original Israelites, anti-white black folk? Oh, yes. Okay. They wear shower curtains. Okay. Not only do I know them, I've studied them. The black Israelites in New York City. If you're going down the street, you'll see like 5 black dudes dressed like warriors. And I mean like Conan the Barbarian mixed with Egyptian motifs and all sorts of stuff. And they have like headbands and gold and bracelets. And they used to have swords and stuff. They don't do that anymore. And they're not nice. And if you're a white guy walking by, they used to yell at you. They're a little friendlier now. Yes, they claim to be one of the lost tribes of Israel. Yeah. I think, oh yeah, the prison experiment. Wow. Oh, you were law enforcement, so you know. Oh, yes. Yeah. You got it. You know the tricks then. They teach them to you. Why would, again, will to power. Why would you not do that? If you're a cop, that's easier. I see why it's done. I don't have to like something to understand it. It's something people never talk about. I might not like something or a technique, but I still want to understand where it's coming from. And then it makes me not... when I know where something comes from, I have a different energy towards its dislike. You know. Yes, the Wu-Tang Clan rejects. Yes, that's kind of what they are like. Yeah, they're kind of funny. Like you'd walk by, like I remember them calling me the White Devil one day. They were like, I'm sorry, I'm going to have to enslave you one day, White Devil. And you're like, wow, really? Wow, that's cool. I mean, my reaction was always like, I would play like the innocent, like I was glad they didn't like me, but in an innocent way. Like, wow, awesome. That's cool. I mean, how, what am I going to do about it? Yes, I do know them very well. They're kind of funny. I like those kind of groups. I'll be honest. I like them. As long as they're not directly hurting anybody. More, please. I like a little nuttiness. I do. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. It's easy. Again, it's easy to see where the kooks are. You're like, oh, there they are. Let them fly their flags. They're clearly doing their expansive, their will to power. It's not really hurting anybody, and it's not going very far. So let them do it. And I can appreciate it. Do I agree with them? Hell no. They're kooks. What? What's this? Oh, proof Mozart and Beethoven were actually... Oh, yeah. Sales and law enforcement. Yes, yes, yes. Open questions. Very true, Lord Lorcan. Very true. You know, it's a form of rhetoric, actually. You know, it's a form of the power of suggestion, too. Instead of saying things direct, you suggest it and let them finish it, and they feel like they've done the work. They get the ego boost. If you let people discover things, they're a little bit more apt to pay attention. Let them discover it. You go, what do you see here? Ooh, I see that. Oh, you see that? See? You're smart. See? So, I mean, yeah, this is what I study all day. This is what magic is. This is what magicians do. Now, back to that Nietzsche quote that I can't find that he made. It's all over online. How many people think that Liberace was in the Church of Satan? Lots. It's a fact. It's a fact all over the internet. Is it true? No. It's not true. I know that for a fact. But it is a fact that Liberace was in the Church of Satan. Why? Because it's all over the internet. I've seen, what is it, top 10 facts about the Church of Satan, and the Liberace one's in there. And I'm like, what? Sammy Davis Jr., however, different story. Mullet Jesus. Nope, I don't know him. The one that I know, Dark Alchemy, do you remember the guy? It's like a black dude dressed like a wizard. Like a Gandalf guy. Maybe when I knew him, he was like in his mid-20s. Kind of a skinny black dude. I don't know if he wore glasses. But full on Gandalf. Kind of a weird beard. Liberace was black. Oh, because of the bling. Liberace, I'm a huge fan. I would know if he was in the Church of Satan. He's definitely not. He was a good Catholic boy. Come on. I think he was friends with the Pope. He used to go over and play shows for the Pope. Come on. Oh, party on, Michael. Party on. Yeah. Here, here. What was I going to say? What time is it? I've had a weird day today, folks. I'm glad I have a good group in here. Are you guys having fun tonight? I'm a little... I don't know what it is. Ooh. Who's Italian? Me? I'm pretty Guido. Which Pope? I think Pope John Paul. And who was the guy right before John Paul? That guy. I'm a Guido. Speaking of that, me and my mama are going to go to the Feast of San Gennaro, hopefully on Wednesday. If you're in New York City, it's the Italian festival in Little Italy. I've been going for many years. I love it. It's junk food on the street. You walk around. Lots of bada bing and bada boom, and maybe you'll get some pasta, some zeppoli, some Tyrone, and get out. Pope Paul the Sixth. Oh, Liberace. Yeah. He was Italian and Polish, I believe. I think he was a Polish-Italian guy. He was a talent. Funnel cakes, yeah. He definitely likes sparkly things. He was a really good pianist. He was funny. He was a Renaissance man. He could tell a joke, do some soft shoe, rip into hardcore classical piano, and then do a costume change. For me, that wins. That's why I have him tattooed here. I mean, that's it. He's the master. He's out of all the showmen, he might be the master. Like, I mean, because he can do it all. I never saw him do magic, but he liked magicians. And yes, he likes sparkly, glittery things. Fact and truth aren't correlated anymore. And never were. Never were. The more I study Friedrich Nietzsche, the more my consciousness feels like a reflection that's not real of how I'm seeing the universe. So, to me, like, this stuff is obviously truth to fiction to fact, how I'm interpreting things. It's a mess. We didn't evolve to see these things. And as we get deeper and deeper and deeper and more bogged, what are we going to do? We're going to have to hire robots to organize our daily lives. Wow, most spiky. Oh, I love this. Spiky. Interesting. Jersey, New York, spiky punks. Philly, Pennsylvania. Yeah, I was from PA. Like, I'm from like the thrash metal generation. And so we liked punk and we liked metal. But I'm more of a punk rock spirit. And so my shit leaned to the punk. But there was metal influence. And so the spiky stuff. Yeah. God, I remember being at a show. I remember being at a King Diamond show. It was not even a punk rock show. And there was a guy in front of me, a big guy, who had so many spikes in his jacket, it was ridiculous. I mean, the whole thing was covered. And he was big, and I think he had a mohawk. He either had a mohawk or Liberty spikes. And dude, he kept crashing into me, and it was like actually not cool. It's like, bro, you have to go to the hospital. It was pretty funny. Someone's fact became their truth based on the level of emotion they put into it. Excellent little phrasing. Yes, you can hardwire fact into your brain and remember it as such. We do that all the time. Everybody does it. We do it on micro levels and on macro levels. We do it because of trauma. We do it for a myriad of reasons. Lorcan, you've got to read. And I'm warning you, it's dense. Genealogy of Morals, Friedrich Nietzsche. It's what I'm in right now. I spent all day on one paragraph. I'll read one paragraph. It's why it takes forever to read his stuff. And I will trip out all day on its meaning and its implications. And it's very much what we're talking about. Ah, yes. Catholicism's detail. Catholicism being the first one. I mean, they were the first ones to organize what we call Christianity. It was them. Because the other Christians that were running around before them, there were some wacky versions. Very different. And so what we call Christianity, yeah, the Catholics, they were the ones that they were the directors and the editors. And the detail that they put into it in the pomp and circumstance and the use of the need for pagan ritual, it's fascinating. I was raised Catholic. Well, okay, Charlemagne. Charlemagne asks and brings up some interesting points. He says it's time to move on to another philosopher. So, when I first fell into my Friedrich Nietzsche hole, which I call it a hole, because it's deep and dark and fascinating. My first out of it were the people after him, like Albert Camus. And Foucault, the modern, not La Rochefoucauld, but just Foucault. And some of the newer guys. And the problem is, none of them are as good as Nietzsche in the writing department. And none of the brilliance factor. I don't. This is why he's got like a fan club. The guy's a genius. Was a really mad genius, and I don't see how you can move on once you've seen behind the curtains of some of the things he presented. And that's the problem with Nietzsche, is once you see what he's getting at, it's so big of a concept and so permeating that it's hard to unsee it. Yes, you will like it because it's a deep dive on where guilt comes from, where our desires for punishment, retribution, law, where our conscience came from, why we have a conscience. Why did we need to develop a consciousness? Why? Why did the evolution set up a conscience? Why are some animals self-reflective and others not? Why? There's answers, and they're very long. And it's mind-blowing. And it's not pretty. None of it's pretty. Most of it's kind of like, And the problem is, the reason why I'm in a Nietzsche hole is I will then leave the subject, try to reflect on it and refute it. You know, I want to see the counterpoints. There aren't any. He opened the door for a version of nihilism that has a triumphant journey and vibe to it, because he discovered that the only solution to the existentialistic crisis that Camus points out, you know, like, there's no point to anything, yet we evolved to look for a point, hence the absurdity. Nietzsche is like, go make art, brother. Go make art. Make mean art, make pretty art, make art. Live life. Enjoy the things you enjoy and ride the pain and get its wisdom out. You're going to get them. You're not in control. And the controls you do have are framings. And if you can frame things certain ways, maybe if you're lucky, they'll go a certain way. They'll go better. Because your framing is the only thing you can actually maybe have an opinion upon. So, Nietzsche solved the problem of nihilism, which was Schopenhauer and the guys that were getting to that. Because the more you look at stuff, you're just like, wow, it looks like we're in an algorithm. And it looks like the algorithm is forcing us to make more algorithms. Like, that's what we do. Well, empathy and cooperation, we realized, you know, you get plopped off in the middle of the jungle alone, and you're not going to do very well. And so us being smart and thinking ahead and having that higher mammal, yes, we were like, yo, there's a time and place for empathy. There's a time and place for cooperation. And if we do this and we regulate that system, this is where a concept of free will comes into play. And I use the word concept. The concept is, if there is no free will, when you start to do that, cooperation, when something bad happens, bad meaning doesn't help this, the group, somebody has to be responsible. Something has to be responsible. The group is partially responsible for certain reasons, but then individuals have to be responsible for other reasons. And so, even if the individual's not responsible because of it's a sequence of whatnot, like for instance, if you could prove that the serial killer had a mental disorder that made this uncontrollable, you would have a little bit of empathy. You'd be like, whoa, like, he knows that's wrong to do, but he's still going over there doing this crazy stab motion and he killed 5 people. It has a different take on it. But still, to run the game, to make it work effectively, he has to be responsible ultimately. Um, well, pattern seeking, all of that is definitely survive. It's all just survive. It's all very simple. It's all will to power. It's us having to overcome something. Our overcomeness is what will to power means. I like to say expand. I say it all the time. It's easier for people to understand it, and it doesn't sound harsh. Will to power is the most basic way to say it and accurate, but in English, to me, it sounds this type of like punch you power, which is not what it always is. Well, empathy. I'm all right. So empathy. This is I love this stuff. This is exactly my jam. Empathy to me only means you're able to understand and put yourself in their shoes and kind of get a feeling of what's going on, but it doesn't mean that you have pity. And a lot of people mix the two words up. You can be empathetic without any pity. To me, pity is the worst of them all. People don't realize why pity is bad. People aren't taught that. People aren't taught that pitying is bad. But when you pity somebody, I mean, you're immediately saying you're above them, first off. And two, it's not very helpful to the person. It doesn't help them. Well, so the book Will to Power, believe it or not, Nietzsche didn't write. Well, he wrote the pieces, but it was put together by his sister. And so in that, there's some weird stuff. I have read the first part of it. I'm going to wait till I finish all the Nietzsche stuff before I read it. It is good, but it is kind of disjointed. You're saying there's no understanding. Well, I mean, there's fake empathy. There's people that their version of empathy is they're addicted to their own emotional wackoness. They're addicted to being and having to be the control freak of worrying about everybody else but themselves. It doesn't mean they have any empathy for the person they're claiming to. And the proof is when they're empathetic, want to help somebody, and the person that wants helped says, all right, well, can you do this? And they're like, well, I can do that, but not that. See, well, then you're not really helping. So that's how I see that. Wow. Well, I don't know. If you've heard that, I would say that the people that, I mean, to outgrow Nietzsche, I don't even know what that means. There's nothing to outgrow. You outgrow Nietzsche the minute you stop reading it. I mean, you just put his book down. Yeah, that's, I mean, a lot of people don't like Friedrich Nietzsche because they don't see the positiveness to his nihilism. And the reason why is because they're inferior artists. Seriously, that's how I see it. If you're the really like his type of art brain, you get it, and when you're done reading him, you feel uplifted. You feel like you're ready to go charge forth and take charge of your day. And when tragedies arise, you're ready with the saddle to ride it. And so I know the whole concept of outgrowing him and him being like, it's because of the rebellious nature and how powerful it is. You know, he always says his philosophy is with a hammer, and a lot of people interpret it as a hammer that he's smashing things, which, yes, he is smashing a lot of ideas of reality, but it's more of a tuning fork. It's more of a, oh, this one has no ring. It's seeing what the ring is, what the vibe is, what it's got, how much can it take. Nietzsche, yeah, a lot of people don't like him. The people I know that don't like him don't understand the details. So I recommend reading. I would say read for the first one. There's beauty in every disaster. Well, yeah, things grow again. I mean, every time there's a disaster, we get to see people overcome. This is it. Now we get to see what we got in us for real. How much can our soul take? And when I say soul, I mean our psyche. How much can our back take physically? You know, that when the crap hits the fan, yeah. You know, it's funny. You know what Mr. Rogers said? And this is beautiful. Whenever there's a disaster or something bad happens, this is what he says to little kids. Whenever you see this, the first thing you do, look for the people helping people. You'll see them. There's always people helping. Look for the helping people. It was something to give little kids to focus on when there's a disaster, because they can't do anything. It's like, look for the people helping. Because, yeah, we overcome as humans. Well, yeah. I mean, yeah, of course. I had my own version of a sophisticated philosophy before I read Nietzsche. When I read Nietzsche, it took my sophisticated philosophy and elevated it. That's all it did. It gave me a new perspective to what I had already done. It didn't flip it. It actually refined it to closer of a detail. Because I was already on the same trip. I already knew the end of what Nietzsche was getting at, but I didn't know how he got at it. Now I do. And my mind has been blown. So, well, again, wisdom is what we gain from pain. That's it. Mental anguish, physical anguish, whatever it is, just immediately start telling yourself you are now going to get a master's degree. Get ready. Pay attention. Take notes. That's what I do. I try to write it. I was getting at that, Charlemagne. Okay, so he's a little hard because you don't want to start with his first book, and you definitely don't want to start with his last book. I would say start with Human, All Too Human, or if you have a little bit of knowledge of philosophy, start with Beyond Good and Evil. It's, to me, it has a really great way he organized the aphorisms. There's sections. The first section is he destroys all the philosophers. The second, it goes, eventually he gets to his concepts, but it's great. It has one of the greatest endings I have ever read in a book. I remember the day I finished that book. It was the first one I read. I also recommend, Charlemagne, to get a study guide and supplement it with lectures. So read the first chapter and then watch a lecture on the first chapter. You know what I'm saying? Trust me, you're going to like it. He blows up the Stoics, Socrates, all of them one at a time. He only has like 5 concepts that he came up with. 5, 6, that's it. And every book is about those. And every part of the book is about those. And that's it. He wrote about the same thing over and over again. I don't think he intended to do that, but it turned into that. And that's why it's good. It's very simple. Pain is the key. Yeah, I mean, pain, mental, physical, anguish, our relationship to it is not how it used to be in the past. We used to train for it, you know? Our ancestors knew how to take a beating. and give a beating. I mean, it was both. I mean, it was just the way it was. Mental too, and physical, always. And it's funny because entropy lends itself to that. Meaning, entropy means things start to fall apart. Okay? They don't go together, they loosen and fall apart. And they're moving in a certain direction. And so us getting old is entropy. And with that is mental anguish and physical anguish. So you know what? We've got that coming. This is why old people are wiser. Clearly. Oh, here we go. Am I Dynamite? I don't know if that's that's not one of his books. I don't know what that is. That's like a chapter in one of the books. Yeah, I Am Dynamite's not one of his writings. It might be one of the essays in the book, but it's not the name of the book. Pain. Right, yeah, we fear pain. Right, yeah, right, that's it. That's all we get now. We don't get to play with it. We don't get to subject ourselves or deal it. It's a different game. You got to read Nietzsche. I'm telling you. He breaks this down on a math level. It's amazing. Now I want to know what book am I... The book I Am Dynamite is in... I'm gonna remember. I remember reading it. It's not the book, though. I've read every Nietzsche book except for 2, 3, 4. There's a book he put out on just weird essays. That I haven't read. Genealogy of Morals I'm in now, almost done. Ecce Homo I haven't read. And Will to Power is the one he didn't write, but I will read it. Because it's his words. Yeah, there's actually videos called Which Nietzsche Book Should I Start With? Because it's hard to say. Hopefully you enjoy it enough to read a few, because I really liked Gay Science. The Gay Science is my favorite one, probably. It has all the famous essays. It has God is Dead. It has The Heaviest Burden. It has... I'm trying to think of the other big... It has the big ones. The famous ones. They're in Gay Science. Dawn of Day, pretty good. They're all good. The first book he wrote's very different. It was more of what he was in college for. I can never remember what it's called because it's such a weird subject. No, that's not the title. Oh, I Am Dynamite is someone wrote... Oh, I see. So it took one of his phrases and made a book about Nietzsche. Yeah, A Life of Nietzsche. I don't recommend that at all. I would recommend... his life story is a little janky. A lot of people don't like him. A lot of writers don't like him, and they always want to point out that he went crazy. People that never read Nietzsche, even Charlemagne's commenting on Nietzsche, and is like, I've never read it. Hey, Serena in the house. So Serena will clarify this because she's read him. People are constantly pointing out that he lost his mind and he died of syphilis and blah, 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 and he went to hookers and blah, blah. None of that's necessarily true. And they always put it on the back of the cover. They always point it out. And it's almost as if they're saying his philosophies failed because he didn't live a good life or a happy life, and that he's a failure. And that is, to me, disgusting. Yeah. Ah, yeah. Sue. Yes. So it's his biography. I'm very curious of the slant on... I'm right now reading a pseudo-biography that he wrote, that his the woman that he liked wrote. I won't say girlfriend. She was not his girlfriend. But he had a crush on her, and she wrote a book about Nietzsche, and it's fascinating. Lou Salome is her name. She dated Paul Ree, his other friend, but I don't even think they were dating. So, anywho, but yeah, to me, there's nothing to leave with Nietzsche. It's, you get what he shows you behind the curtain of some facts on how reality operates. Through that, you have a crash, like, that's not pretty. And through the pain of it all, you realize that it is a deep, dark hole, but for some reason, there is a way out. And that is, I mean, in a nutshell, artistic expressions. There's the release valve. And I agree. My God. All right. We're at 9:29. I am exhausted. I had a weird day today. If you're new, hit that damn like and subscribe. We have a lot of people now showing up to these things. The donations are real. People donate. I like it. I thank you. Some people donate when they see these offline. You don't have to donate, but if you do, it's great because I do this full time. I'm telling you, Charlemagne, I'm telling you, I've been reading my whole life. I have to kind of put him at the top, only because I don't want to spoil it. Let's see. Check it out. There's a lot of info on it. That's the other thing. Once you get in the Nietzsche stuff, there's endless lectures from all over the world, from professors. The most famous person right now running around flapping his jaws about Nietzsche is Jordan Peterson. And he actually, to me, misinterprets him. I've been studying Nietzsche enough now where I can point out misinterpretations. So there's a lot of chatter on him. And that's why I think you'll like it. It's got a lot of voices in there. Wow. Party, dude, this was a good one. I can't wait to go back and read the... So I have... Hey, Lorcan, thank you very much. Bada bing, bada boom. Bing, 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 bing. I today feel thick. Brain fog. I haven't felt brain fog since I had COVID 3 or 4 years ago, or whenever that was. Yeah, I have this weird brain fog today. So, and the weather's warm. So, I'm going to go outside. I'm going to go up to the beach. I'm going to stare at the water. And I'm going to think about today's episode. There's a lot in here today. I love it. I can't see well today. I have these glasses on right now because I have very sensitive eyes. I get migraines easy. And all of the lights that we have now are these damn LED lights. I didn't know they banned incandescent light bulbs. They did it really quietly. Well, the LED lights hurt my brain. Okay? And wouldn't that be funny if we find out 20 years later that the LED lights are messing with everybody? So I have shades on. Paul, thank you very much. Yes, Lord Lorcan, great. You threw some good ones in there today that got me thinking. Everybody, Charlemagne, my family, Serena's in the house. Who else is in here? Ruth, Blanche, all do. I wish I could put together in a live room the cabal, and I'll use that word, of humans that are in that chat. Very proud to see a gathering of people that I hold as intelligent, creative, thoughtful, smart humans that I learn from. So thank you all for attending. Oh, Joe hated them. Oh my God. Yeah, dude. I don't know what it is. I can't stand LED. Everybody has them now. Cars have them. When I'm driving now, the headlights hurt my brain. Oh. Bada boom. I love you guys. I really do. I have a blast doing this. We've been doing these for years. My audience is starting to grow. Who would have thought? Took a long time. And I thank you. It's the viewers. That's it. I ain't got anybody. I'm definitely shadow banned. So party on. Let's have fun. Let's have a good week. I don't know if I'm here next week. I might be. I might do one next Monday. It'll be 170. Episode 170. Folks, I am Cardone. I'm going to take us out with the end credits. And I'm going to go party on the beach. Party on.